Meet the Ford Mustang Dark Horse, the fastest non-supercharged V8 Mustang of all time. And today we get to test it on the road and the track. Let's get started. I think I'm gonna make that my ringtone. The new generation Ford Mustang is due in Australian showrooms in the first half of 2024. And rather than launch with only the regular lineup, the V8 powered GT and the 4-cylinder powered EcoBoost models, Ford will launch with a special edition from the get-go. It's called the Ford Mustang Dark Horse and is the spiritual successor to the Mach-1 that was sold towards the end of the previous generation. It's called the Dark Horse because Ford says we didn't see it coming. It's also the first time the Ford Mustang has had a forward-facing pony on the badge. Price is yet to be announced, but early estimates peg it up to or in excess of $90,000, given the predecessor cost about $83,000. The Dark Horse gets the same menacing new design as the regular Mustang, with the wide grille and wedge-style tail lights, but it comes with revised suspension, a new wheel and tyre package, Recaro sport seats, and massive race-bred Brembo brakes. The other big news is under the bonnet. The 5-litre V8 has been uprated to 500 horsepower, or 373 kilowatts, and 418 foot-pounds of torque, or 567 newton metres. Ford Australia is yet to finalise these figures for the local market, but this is what came out of the calculator when we did the conversion. The interior has had a major lift in technology and appearance, with twin widescreen digital displays and better materials across the dash and doors. But of course the Mustang still has most mod cons, such as USB-C and USB-A charging ports, as well as a smartphone charging pad. And as you might expect, even though there are 4 seat belts, this really is a 2-seat car. The back seats are better suited to luggage or left empty. It's a good thing baby boomers are the biggest buyers of the Mustang, so the kids have well and truly left the nest by now. Well, at least we hope so. While we could spend all day going through the interior of the Ford Mustang Dark Horse, we didn't have long with the car. Time to hit the road before we test it on a racetrack. Today we are driving 2 versions of the new Ford Mustang Dark Horse, the automatic with the regular wheel and tyre package, and on the racetrack we're going to drive a manual version performance pack with stickier tyres, lightweight wheels and extra aerodynamic aids. A lot of enthusiasts will prefer the manual, but I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys. The automatic is quicker. The automatic version, you just slam through the gears, whereas in the manual, you lose a bit of that momentum every time you press the clutch. First impressions? You can feel the suspension is taut, but it's not bone jarring. There's a nice new meaty steering wheel. The brakes are super responsive, and the tyres have a lot of grip, even though we're on the regular Pirelli rubber that we're going to get in Australia, not the semi-slick version that's part of the performance pack. Listen to that. The automatic is smoother than before. It doesn't jolt between gears like the previous 10-speed could. And while it took Ford 2 goes to get the exhaust sound just right on the previous version Mustang, they got it right straight out of the box this time. To keep up with the times and to appeal to a younger audience, Ford has really modernised the Mustang's cabin. We've got twin digital widescreen displays, one for the instrument cluster and one for the infotainment system. There's a range of drive modes and special personalised screens. And overall, Ford has given the cabin a real lift with the new Mustang. There's much nicer materials now, and it's a much cleaner design. I actually really like the steering wheel. I wasn't expecting to be so impressed by the steering wheel. The last one was a bit old school. This one could be out of an Audi. Good points. It sounds fantastic, it looks fantastic, and it's really accessible and comfortable to drive. Downsides, the infotainment system is really fiddly. Sure, there's a volume dial, but everything else to control the cabin functions is done through the touchscreen. So you've got to tap the screen to change the air conditioning settings, tap the screen again to search for a radio station, or control your map functions. Is it a deal breaker? Probably not. But I reckon Ford's going to get customer feedback on this, and they'll probably need to address it at the first facelift. This really is a driver's car. We've got really snug Recaro Sport seats and just a really comfortable driving position. The steering is really well weighted, not too heavy and not too light. And you can really feel what the front tyres are doing with every tiny turn. But just as impressive as the power are the brakes. It has a super sharp pedal feel and they wash off speed like that. The Ford Mustang Dark Horse has 500 horsepower in the old money and 418 foot-pounds of torque. In metric terms, that translates to 373 kilowatts and 567 newton meters. The Ford Mustang Dark Horse is the fastest and most powerful 5-litre V8 Mustang ever sold to date. How fast is it? 0 to 100 in about 5 seconds. You might get a bit better than that, or you could be a touch slower depending if you're in the manual or the automatic, and depending how good you are at getting off the line. It sounds amazing and we're barely touching the throttle. So which one would I choose? As much as I'm a fan of manual transmissions, and I do own a manual transmission car, the automatic is just too hard to beat. It's easier to live with in the daily grind, and it's faster when you floor the accelerator. That said, you can't go wrong either way. This is a very comfortable and a very livable road car with a mean streak. So, what's it like on the track? We're about to find out. Drive.com.au was invited along with other international media to attend a preview drive of the Ford Mustang Dark Horse at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home of NASCAR. We got to test the vehicle on a section of the banked oval, as well as the twists and turns of a shortened section of the racing circuit. We're in the Ford Mustang Dark Horse Performance Pack. That means it gets stickier tyres, lightweight wheels, and extra wings on the bodywork. And boy, does it sound good. I've got to tell you, as impressive as the handling is on this thing, the brakes are next level. The grip from these Pirelli tyres is just profound. If you want to do the occasional track day, I definitely recommend getting the optional Performance Pack. The Performance Pack's not available at Ford dealerships, but Ford Performance Australian distributor, Herod, is going to offer them for sale. It's a really weird feeling being on a banked NASCAR oval. Holy smoke. The tyres feel like they have grip to spare. I can't believe how light and agile this car feels. Holy cow. I could really get used to this. This does not feel like a big lumbering V8. This feels like a rear drive hot hatch with a V8 engine. These tyres grip up real good, real quick. They would be a handful on the road, but on a racetrack environment, they are just perfect. You can just hear the engine open its lungs up. It's saying, give me more air, let's go. This is a really neutral handling car. Obviously, it's the best case scenario at the moment. We're testing the Performance Pack with the racetrack tyres on a racetrack. But I've got to say, it's quite remarkable the bandwidth of ability from this car. Not only is the V8 not dead, it is very much alive. The Ford Mustang Dark Horse Edition is due in Australian showrooms in early 2024. Ford isn't saying exactly how many will be built, but it does appear to be part of the lineup, at least initially. That said, Ford insists production will be limited due to the added complexities of the Go-Fast parts. For the full review on the Ford Mustang Dark Horse, please go to drive.com.au, hit like if you've enjoyed this video, and subscribe to our channel so don't miss any future updates.